My name is Szczap. I am a Mongolist by training, and in my research I deal with the history, development, the language and visual sphere of Ulaanbaatar, the capital city of Mongolia. I tend to utilize a wide array of research materials, such as city maps and schemes of public transport, local address and place naming systems, billboards, signboards, or audio field recordings. Often, I also reach the 5 elements of hip-hop. I've been observing the Mongolian hip-hop scene for over a decade. I see hip-hop as a medium most adequate for commenting on the conditions of life of modern urbanites in an originally nomadic society. The work I'm presenting in this video looks into the expressions of local, urban identities in rap lyrics, and especially one mean extensively utilized in this regard, that is, place names. Not surprisingly, place naming remains an important tool for space-related identification, expressing local patriotism and processes of placemaking. This is even more so valid in Mongolia, where identities are very closely connected to the concept of one's birthplace. Mongolian culture is one of a rich oral literary tradition, and both in this context and due to pragmatic reasons, place naming remains an important component of identification and the most useful tool in the everyday life of nomads who, although seasonably mobile, remain attached to the landscapes they revisit on an annual basis. The shift towards the urban environment has provoked many curious processes, often aiming to adapt traditional values to the new and, most importantly, sedentary and spatially very dense circumstances. For many, the city has become the new landscape, and the urban pace of life, the in-city migrants' new migration pattern. Hip-hop in Mongolia has developed throughout the last 30 years and noted a substantial explosion during the last decade. Today, along with this dynamic growth, we are also experiencing a resurge of street hip-hop. Not surprisingly, this is one of the more identity-oriented subgenres of hip-hop, which seems to nearly perfectly fit the circumstances of the turbulent situation Ulaanbaatar youths are facing in the free market reality of uncontrolled urban growth. One of the themes frequently explored within hip-hop is that of unequivocal local patriotism. In this regard, hip-hop finds mutual grounds with traditional Mongolian sentiments of attachment to nature and praise for one's birthplace, which is understood as both the landscape and its inhabitants, both tangible and intangible. Within hip-hop, however, these sentiments are simultaneously very much occupied with one's uneasy relationship with the hostile urban environment. This story map follows some examples of lyrics centered around issues of urban spatiality. These should be seen as expressions of sentiments and identities the urban generates among youths of the originally nomadic population of Mongolia. Songs included range from early second-wave hip-hop anthems by now long-established figures of the underground to narrations by underrated cats or homage-style reinterpretations of previous hip-hop heritage performed by upcoming artists. Not surprisingly, questions of identity, place-bound sentiments, and local patriotism resonate especially strongly with raps aligned with the streets. It is very often the so-called street artists that deliver the most raw and in-depth insights about questions of urban identity, placemaking, or so to say, the most trustworthy dispatches from the hood. Some of the lyrics presented in this story map limit themselves to illustrative yet generic descriptions of the local urban environment. Others, however, go a step further and are just boiling with very detailed accounts of situations and concrete places, vernacular names, or even exact addresses included. In many of these lyrics, descriptions of urban spaces serve as means to deliver hard-hitting social commentaries. When considered within such a framework, place names become an important stylistic device which authenticates and invigorates the circumstances described. They can be used to achieve various goals. They can support or validate a statement. They might allow for a straightforward disclosure of affiliations. They are crucial when making claims to turf. they might be used as one of the auxiliary tools in chronicling. Place names become most crucial when expressing local, urban patriotic sentiments, which, as hinted before, double as expressions of sentiments towards one's birthplace, a notion characteristic to traditional Mongolian lyricism and one which transpires the Mongolian mentality in general. Specific place names might also serve as means to reinterpret other traditional values or sentiments. On the other hand, they are also crucial for highlighting the crosspoints of hip-hop communities and the greater urban society. Thanks to their diverse connotations, place names often offer a way to deliver additional socio-spatial insight. They can partake in perpetuating the development of local, neighborhood or landmark-centered identities and affiliations. And last but not least, through offering authentic reference, they bring more life into description passages or lyrics in general. And so, as can be seen, place names form a distinct and important class of words which, when utilized accordingly, can constitute a very powerful and versatile stylistic device in rap lyrics as well as other contexts. That being said, it should also be noted that as with other elements of a language, also place names can and should be studied from various perspectives: structural, syntactic, semantic, etymological, semiotic, cognitive, but also from other angles, such as those of sociolinguistics and spatial cognition, just to name the two most obvious. The story map introduced in this video attempts to present urban place names as part of the cultural heritage of nomadic Mongolian youths turned urbanites, thus accenting the socio-spatial aspects of the bigger issue, which is the role of hip-hop and vernacular language in general in forming local identities. My work approaches the question from a mixed urban/hip-hop/Mongolian studies perspective.